episode of the Provocative Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget, before I go into today's video, that there is merch available on the website. So it's actually just my website. Provocative Podcast doesn't have its own website just yet. So it's under jazzyfit.me. You go under merch, you'll be able to find Provocative Podcast merch on there, which is just a few shirts and some stickers. But if you guys want to support the podcast, you guys have some merch there available, and it'll be in the link in the description for you guys as well. First of all, I just want to say thank you for everyone who supports me so far. It's been an amazing journey with you girls, and the last recent episodes, I've been getting so much love. The one with Suzette talking about makeup just did so well. You guys really enjoyed that one, so it makes me really happy. And then the one from last week with Ale, it was such a good podcast. I was so happy that she was able to, share her story with you guys because, I've been a part of her journey for a while, and just for her, I think it was a great way for her to share her story. And I know a lot of you girls reached out and said that you guys could actually relate to her. So I think that was amazing. I just want to say, with me having the podcast, it's different. With Instagram, you can kind of block out the negative comments. But now that I have my Instagram, my TikTok, my podcast, actually, and my YouTube, my personal YouTube, I actually just did a video on YouTube, and I had a little talk at the end. And I stated that it's been a little, harder recently with just trying to block out all the negative noise. And it's not so much a negative, I understand that people are going to have different opinions. That's why, I made the podcast. But it's easier said than done, when you get a ton of different opinions thrown at you. It's a lot harder. It's a hard pill to swallow, let's just say that. So, I know that whatever argument I may have, there's always going to be an opposing argument, and not everyone's going to agree with me, and that's okay. I'm learning. I knew that going into making the podcast, I knew that was going to be a thing, but I think now more so ever, actually living through it, I know it's a thing, and it's, I'm grateful for where I'm at in my journey now, because I feel like it has prepared me to be able to handle, what I'm handling now as far as the outside noise and stuff. And I will say, it's hard because I do feel like I have to watch everything I say. Even last week's episode, I didn't feel like, my intention is never to hurt anyone's feelings. My intention is obviously to, give my opinion or, my feedback. And, some person commented that they thought that I was being insensitive to other moms because I was basically praising Ale for the way she was raising her. She's deciding to raise Elijah. And by no means was that, anything I was trying to do. I was just stating that if I was going to be a mom, I would love for me to be able to take that route that she was doing. But that does not mean that if you don't take that route or whatever it was that I said, that it makes you a bad mom. And I hope that you girls didn't take it that wrong way, because my intention is never to make anyone feel bad. And if you feel bad, you need to ask yourself why you're feeling bad about it. And I've said that before. If you're getting criticized or you're getting comments, if you are confident in yourself and you know what you want and you're doing what you can, there shouldn't be any type of negative feelings towards that. But if you're feeling some type of way, maybe it's because it's a sign to look within yourself and ask yourself why you're feeling this way. Could you be doing more? Whether that be mom life, work life, entrepreneur life, whatever it may be, looking within yourself and asking yourself, am I doing what I feel like is enough for me? And just kind of wanted to throw that at you guys. And I understand that not everyone is going to agree with me, but I just wanted to state that because it has been a little bit harder to deal with. Last week I was on my podcast with Max, came out on his personal podcast, and it was me talking about very openly about my OnlyFans. And you guys know that I am very open about it. I would love to talk more about it, but I think it's because I don't know if that's something that you girls are interested in, that I can be more vocal about it. But I try to be as vocal as I can, because if there are other women out there who are wanting to get in or just want to have questions of how my life is with OnlyFans, I want to be able to help them out. Because when I first started my OnlyFans, like videos and stuff were not available to me. I didn't have resources to look at. And so now that there are more resources, it's great. And I would love to be one of those resources. And that's exactly what I said, on Max's podcast. But I knew going into it that I was going to get a lot of, hate, and not a lot, but I knew I was going to get some hate because of people that don't know me personally. And so last week I really just focused on not looking at the comments, on not letting my mind wander to those places and get to those places. And I'm very grateful that I have Chris there, because he knew on Monday my anxiety was through the roof. I was like trying so hard not to pick up my phone, and like he's just really good at, thankfully, at being like my support system and like trying to get me out of my own head. And last week I had like a funk week, but it happens. And yeah, so I just wanted to state that, be kind of open and raw with you guys about that. So anyways, I just, I am grateful for all of you who listen, and I just want to help you girls out as much as I can, give you guys entertaining content, but at the same time, helpful content. And I feel like so far I've been doing that. And I'm just really grateful for all of you who have been able to resonate with this podcast, because the amount of daily messages that I get from you girls are just insane. And I've been screenshotting all of them. I'm trying to make a little like, collage thing with them. I just haven't yet, but I just, every single message that you guys reach out to me, like it truly means the world. So thank you so much for that. All right, let's go into today's intro before we go into today's topic. And today's topic is going to be what would Jazzy do, because I haven't done one of those in a while. And let me know in the comments if you guys like them. I did a little poll yesterday on my story about it, and I didn't know that, like, because I feel like it's not a single topic. It's just me giving out advice based on what I would do. So, some of them are fun, some of them are more serious, but I didn't know if you guys actually enjoy them. But from the responses I got back yesterday, it seems like you girls do. So I'm going to do a what would Jazzy do. But before we get into that, let me give you guys a little intro. So like I said last week, I feel like I was in a little bit of a funk. I am feeling a lot better this week. I feel like, there are just days where there's just weeks that, it happens. You're not going to be at 100, and that's, normal. I have my weeks where I'm at 100 and I'm like full throttle and I'm so happy and I'm not tired and I'm good. But then I have my weeks where I'm like, down, or I feel a little depressed. And it's important to talk to someone, whether that be your significant other, your mom, your friend, and let them know, hey, I'm having kind of a hard week this week. Can you maybe check up on me and get me out of the house, even though the last thing you want is to get out of your house. This last week I had a few days where I didn't want to get out of bed, but I made sure that Chris knew that I was having a harder week, and he was like, okay, let's get up, let's go outside, let's go to the gym, let's go here. We need to get you out of the house, because if we keep you here, if I let you lay in bed, you're just going to lay in bed, and it's going to get you deeper into that depressive state. And I don't want you to go through that. So it's important to let someone know. And it helps, because now I feel like after that second day that I was feeling kind of low, it helped a lot. It helped tremendously. So I'm just really grateful. And it's not his responsibility to know all the time. It's my responsibility to speak up when I feel like something's going on. And it's your responsibility as a person, as a friend, to speak about what's going on in your life. If you have friends and you're like, why aren't they asking what's going on in my life? Like they're bad friends or bad parents. It's not that, guys. Everyone has their own shit going on in their life. And if you don't speak out, if you don't say, hey, I'm going through a really hard time, people won't know what's going on. And I actually just had a conversation with one of my friends about this, because we were both going through different things, and she was kind of going through a really hard time too, and she was kind of distancing herself. And it made me feel like, okay, why are you distancing yourself? Is something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And when we both sat down and we communicated what was going on, it was like, wow, I didn't realize you were going through that. And she was like, wow, I didn't realize you were going through that. And that's why it seemed like I was being distant. So, it's important to communicate with your friends and your family if you're going through a hard time or you need someone, because they're not always going to be able to guess when something is wrong. And it's better for you to tell them so that they can get you out of that hole faster than going through this period of weeks where you're just in a limbo and you're not seeing your friends, or you're being distanced, when, they could probably help you out and get you out of this hole so that you could progress in whatever area that you need to progress in. So you know, that happened. And anyways, I feel a lot better this week. One thing that is super simple, but I just want to remind you girls and guys, is drink your fucking water. Like it is so important in your daily life to drink water. I can't tell you guys how important it is. Like when I look my leanest and my best is when I'm drinking half a gallon to a gallon of water a day. And yes, it's hard to do, but you just have to remind yourself, put reminders. I do a trick where when I grab my water bottle, I don't take less than 10 sips. 10 gulps. And that means I may be bloated for like a couple minutes after I drink the water, but it makes my water go by so much faster. And the benefits of water on just your skin, your health is just so good. Not only that, you will wake up the next day looking so much tighter and flatter. I'm telling you, when I am on a roll with my water, it takes like a few days because at first you're kind of like not swollen, but your body's like, oh shit, I'm getting water. Let me take it all in. And once you give your body more water, it starts flushing it out. By day 3, 4, like I promise you, you are going to feel so much flatter in your stomach. You're going to wake up and you're going to be like, holy crap. Because your mind wants to make you think like, oh my God, I'm drinking all this water, I'm going to hold on to water. But it's actually the opposite. As long as also you're not having foods that are super high in sodium, like chips and putting a ton of salt on your food. And, you know, like us Mexicans, Cheetos with Valentina and limon y sal, not good. Okay, girls, don't do that shit because it's so bad for your health. I promise you, like, you will feel so much better. I'm not saying you can't do it once in a while. I'm just saying don't be doing it daily. But drink your fucking water. I'm back on my water game this week and I feel so much better. So there's that. And lastly, before I get into today's topic, Chris and I are deworming ourselves. Okay. So we have been seeing, or I have been seeing on TikTok, you know, like to deworm yourself, it's so important. And I was just like, we had actually talked about it like 6 months ago about doing it, but we never took it serious. We were like, whatever. Well, Chris has actually been having a lot of stomach issues to where he's just not able to keep any food in his system. And it's actually been worrying me a lot. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's maybe you have a parasite. Maybe it's time to do this like cleanse. And when we started doing more research on it, we realized that, you know, there was a lot of things on there, fatigue and headaches and things that were popping up. And I was like, man, like I have been feeling a lot more tired recently. And, you know, maybe this could help me out too. And if he's going to deworm himself, I might as well do it because we sleep together. We're always together. And so we were like, screw it, let's go on this journey together. So we bought this liquid called Paragard. We got it on Amazon and it's what everyone on TikTok was using. And we started it Saturday. So Saturday's day 1, day 2. We are on day 4 today. And so far we haven't seen anything crazy in the bathroom, but we have seen some parasites because they're like white and they look like a mini rice. Like, well, not mini rice. They look like rice. Like if you had a handful of like raw rice, uncooked rice, that's what they look like in your poop. And so, I mean, some people's poop have had like big ass tapeworms. Thankfully that hasn't happened because when we were watching the reviews, guys, some people were having worms coming out of their skin. I was freaking out because I told Chris, I was like, oh my God, I swear if a worm comes out of my skin, I'm going to freak the hell out. But thankfully that hasn't happened yet. It's a 10-day cleanse. You can do an extreme cleanse and do the 30 days. Listen, we're not going that extreme. We're doing the 10 days. And so far nothing crazy's come out, but I'm just hoping that, you know, at the end of this cleanse we'll feel better and I'll give you guys an update after day 10. All right, guys. So let's get into what would Jazzy do? So I have my phone on me. I'm going to go through some of these. I have not read any of these. As you guys know, I don't read any until the day of so that you guys can get my genuine expression and feeling on camera. Okay. All right, let me go down to the bottom. All right. I'm getting my breasts augmented in 6 months. What would you change if you could? I think this is a good one. It's funny because I have a full YouTube video about my breasts, guys, where I went, what size I did, and all that stuff. And I mentioned in my video that I wanted to get them redone. And recently when I'm on my period, my breasts get so big, and when I post stories like in my sports bra, you girls are always asking around that time. They're like, "Oh my god, did you get your boobs redone?" And I'm like, "No, I wish. Like my boobs look great right now." So like I mentioned in that YouTube video, if I could change one thing, it would be to go a little bit bigger now. I think when I first got them done, because I was so young, I was 18, I had like thinner arms, I was just like more linkier, and I feel like it fit my body really well. Now I think my breasts fit my body perfectly. I really don't have many complaints about my breasts. I just love them when I'm on my period. And they're literally just like probably 25 to 50 cc's bigger when I'm on my period, because they're just a little bit more swollen. And that's the size that I would like to go. Literally just a smidge more, which is why I've held back on redoing them, because it's like I don't really want to pay 10 grand just for such a small increase and go through the whole surgery process for just a small increase. So that's one of the reasons, the main reason I haven't gotten mine redone. But if I had to choose one thing, would be just that, the size, because I have saline implants. I have 350 and 375 in the other, and they're perfect for me. I for a while wanted to change the type of implant because I wanted a more of a like a natural falling look. But I feel like now I really do like the look of mine. I like the fact that mine are round and perky, but not too fake and high, and they're not too saggy and low, because I've seen both, and I'm just really, really happy with mine. So um, besides the size, I wouldn't fix much. The only other thing I will say, that I feel like my doctor left a huge ass scar, and mine's underneath my breast. So when I raise up my hands, obviously you can see it. And that's the only thing that between Chris and I, we say we wish our doctor did differently, because I feel like her scars are just like, my scars are just way too big and prominent. Thankfully now with time, they've got diminished a little bit, but they're still pretty noticeable, if only if I raise my arms. If they're down like they are now, you can't really see it. But besides that, guys, I have no complaints. I love my breast. I don't, you know, get into the whole breast implant illness, because I don't care. I'm not fucking getting rid of my implants. I love them. I got them for me. I worked so hard to get them for me. It was a decision I made, but it was such an important decision for me, because when I made that decision, it was like me alone. No one was supporting me. I wasn't actually with Chris at the time. And my mom, like, after I was like, okay, I am going to do it, she supported me then, but it was a decision that I wanted to make for myself. And, I feel like they're a part of me now. And thankfully, I may have IBS and shit, but I'm not blaming it on my boobs. So that's my only thing when it comes to breasts. But I will say, do your research. Always look at before and after pictures when you're choosing your surgeon. Make sure you feel comfortable with your surgeon. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. If you have more questions on my breast, I have a full YouTube video on my YouTube channel, Jazzy Fit. All right. Okay. Let's see. What would you do? Skip a court date because she's at the gym. I don't know what you mean by that, but I don't know why she wouldn't go to a court date if she's at the gym. Okay. When your significant other is feeling extremely insecure, but won't drop it after addressing things. I will say, depending on what they're feeling insecure about, it takes time. Like if you messed up in your relationship, or you have shown reasons why your significant other is jealous, or should be jealous, it's going to take time for your significant other to fully trust you and to fully feel confident. And it all depends on what happened. It's on the basis of what happened, because, you could have just liked the photo, or you could have cheated on your partner, or whatever it may be. I think your job, if you messed up in any kind of relationship, is to be understanding with the other person and give them time, and ask them like, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything that I'm doing that could help you, process things better or make you feel more comfortable? Because at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship with someone, it shouldn't be like, oh, you're doing this again. It should be, I want to make you comfortable because I want us to be comfortable in our relationship. Because depending on what happened and why that person is feeling insecure, it's something that you both have to communicate. And if, like I said, if you did something wrong, then it's up to you to make things better for the other person. And if you didn't do something wrong and that person is just insecure or whatever, then they need to have like a deep conversation with you as far as why they're feeling that type of way, and maybe seek therapy, because it's different. Like I said, it's all different based on what the subject is. But for example, let's say you're going out with your girlfriends at the club, at a bar every 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, a guy's gonna feel some type of way about you going out to the club by yourself. Like something like that. It's not just your boyfriend. Like several guys are gonna have issues with that. So it just depends on what, like I said, what the topic is. But I personally feel like if you messed up and your significant other, and this goes for guys and girls, significant other is feeling some type of way, it's your duty to make them feel better if you want to maintain a healthy relationship. So I will say that. All right. Losing yourself from your own negative thoughts. This one's hard because I really feel like, thankfully, if I have any negative thought, I quickly just dismiss it, because I'm all about manifesting the life that you want and bringing in energy to yourself of the life that you want. And if you are bringing in negative energy and negative thoughts into your mind, that is all that you are going to attract. So I'm a very, very big, firm believer in your thoughts attract what you want in life. And so if I have any negative thoughts or anything, what I end up doing, if it's a valid negative thought, I speak about it with someone like Chris, for example, and I'm like, hey, I'm having this thought. I know it's not the right thought. Help me through it. And he, for the most part, will be like, hey, like, there's no need for you to feel that way. We're like, if you're stressing about XYZ, this is what we can do to help with your stress or whatever it may be, and it'll kind of go away. But yeah, like, I just feel like, if you have those negative thoughts, especially about yourself, you need to be like, you know what? No, like, I can't think this way. You don't automatically have to start telling yourself positive things, but don't think about those things. Don't allow that negative energy to come to you and to affect your life, because then that's, like I said, I am a big firm believer in that, and that's what you will attract. So, and it's very hard to do, but it's creating that habit. The next time you have it, create that habit. Write it down so you don't forget. Write it down on your phone. Write it down on your laptop. Write it down on your mirror. Like, lose negative thoughts. Get rid of negative thoughts. And that way, anytime that you're anywhere in your house or whatever, wherever your workspace, you have a negative thought, you can see something that says get rid of that negative thought. And then you're like, okay, shit, I got to get rid of it. And then it'll become a habit to where you'll get rid of those negative thoughts without even having to think about it. So that's my advice on getting rid of those negative thoughts. Okay. Coworkers dislike you for no valid professional reason, all personal jealousy. I wouldn't even know what to do. I've dealt with jealousy all my life, so I just kind of do my own thing. I would just say, do your own thing. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you let in. Fucking sage yourself every day at work. And if it comes to be a problem, like, I'm just a straight up person. I'd be like, I just ask them what their deal is with you. Maybe try to fix it so that you don't have to go into a workspace where you're uncomfortable every day, because that would be very draining on your energy as well. So maybe it's time for you to confront that person and ask what it is they don't like about you, and if there can be a workaway around that, or at least, if they don't like you, cool, whatever, keep their distance so that you're not, affected by their negative energy. That's what I would do. All right. What would you do if your brother's friend asked you to go on a date and low-key want to? I feel like I'm the type of person that would go. Chris is looking at me. I feel like I would go. Like, it just depends. I would definitely see, like, what kind of date is it? Is it like a let's go to the park, have some ice cream kind of date, like a chill, non-sexual date? That's what I would do. Like dinner and club and maybe end up drinking and hooking up. I would try to avoid that. Because then you could really, like, you don't even know if you actually could develop feelings for this person, and then you fucked up a relationship with that person and potentially with that person and your brother. So I would say, cool, if it's a chill hangout, feel that person's vibe, see if anything could lead to if that could lead to somewhere. And that way, if you're like, yeah, I actually don't really like this person, you didn't hurt anything. You didn't do anything wrong, right? We went out, You went out for ice cream, or you went to the park and walked around a little bit, or hung out in a public space rather than hanging out in a private, something could go down and then you're like, I actually don't like this person, and then it's all awkward. So that's what I would do. Okay, let's see. Working a 9 to 5 and feel stuck in life, every day is the same. Find a way to bring in different sources of income, different sources of revenue. I've talked about it several times. If you have a 9 to 5 job and you hate your job, right now with TikTok, with social media, what are you doing? Do something. There's Amazon storefront. There's so many different revenues that you can do. And I'm not specifically saying you, girl, but I'm saying like you as the listener who's watching this, whatever. There is so much that you can do on e-commerce, with e-commerce. And you need to take full advantage of that. Work your 9 to 5 and see, okay, what else do you like to do that you can do on your free time that could potentially lead somewhere, that could potentially get you out of your 9 to 5 job and, make you more money, or just plain make you happier. So I always say that when I had, my restaurant job, I was doing makeup on the side. I was doing online training on the side. Like I was doing multiple things to bring in revenue so that I didn't just depend on one revenue, first off. And second off, that way I knew I was building into something, whether or not it would have been the makeup taking off, whether or not been me making my own restaurant, or, I went with the online training route, but I was working 3 different angles to see what I wanted to do with my life. And for a little while there, I actually was going to pursue having my own restaurant. Chris and I were actually going to take that route, and it fell through, and we went with the online training route. And I'm so grateful that we ended up doing this route. I think we would have been very successful in the restaurant route regardless, but this is the route that we took because we had different options. So I would say, on your free time, what are you doing with your free time? Or if your 9 to 5 job, can you do something while you're doing your 9 to 5 job that can be bringing you money elsewhere, and that you could be potentially, making this at a career in the future time? So that's what I would recommend that you do. All right. So these two ended up being both about sex. So when your significant other has a really low sex drive, work with Transcend. I'm working with them. As you guys know, they're a company that helps you with hormones and any kind of hormone imbalances that you have. Maybe first of all, let your significant other know that you want more sex, and potentially, they could probably, if they're open to the idea, work with someone to check, are there, I'm assuming this is a guy or girl, I don't know, but are there is their sex drive low? And then they can check there if their hormones are low in that area, and they could potentially prescribe medication. For guys, there's some stuff that you can take, okay? And there's nothing wrong with you taking stuff to help you if it's going to help you with your sex drive and it's going to help you in your relationship. And for females, there are stuff there out there too that they can prescribe you to help build up that sex drive so that, you feel like you are connecting with your partner sexually in that sense as well. So I would recommend hitting up someone who can help you with that. All right. And next. All right. My husband always rejects me when I want to have sex and only wants it when he feels like it. I would be pissed. Have the conversation with your significant other, with your husband, and ask like what, why he's being the way that he's being. Like, why is he, first of all, I think it's weird if your husband is rejecting you when you want to have sex, like, unless are you trying to have sex when he's in the middle of like a fucking Call of Duty game? Because if that's the case, then yeah, Chris is going to be like, no, girl, you're going to have to wait till my game is over. But if we're in the bed or we're in the couch cuddling, or he's like fucking brushing his teeth and I'm like, I want to have sex and suck his dick, he's going to want to have sex with me. Like that's just how I think things should work in that area. So I'm wondering why your husband is not wanting to have sex with you when you want to have it, but then the issue is that he still wants to have sex with you, but on his terms. So that's just like the weird thing about it. And so just have that conversation and be like, hey, I've noticed that when I want to have sex, you don't want to have sex, but you want me to have sex with you when you want to have sex. And I just don't think that's not quote unquote fair, but it's not it's not good for me, that I feel like you're only using me when you want sex and you're not taking my feelings and my emotions into consideration. So I would definitely have that conversation, and maybe there's a deeper reason why your husband's not wanting to have sex with you when you want to, because I just don't see why, especially with men and their sex drives, he's still wanting to have sex, but when you want to have sex, he doesn't want to have sex. I just find that a little strange. So you need to have a conversation with him, girlfriend. All right. Okay, let's see. Um, guy love, guy love bombarded me the second time we hung out. Said, "I think I love you." So weird, guys. I will say that is one thing. Like, as a guy, give a girl her space and don't bombard her so quick. I feel like when Chris and I would break up, like, oh my God, the amount of guys that would literally try within like 5 hours to like, I want you to be my girlfriend. Oh my God, I think I'm in love with you. Like, it was just like, dude, you need to back away, because first off, it makes you feel suffocated. Like, you can't breathe. It doesn't make you want that person. And two, it is a little weird to come off so strong like that. It's like, let's take it easy. Let's take it slow. Let me see if I like you, because sometimes you think you like a person right off the bat, and then the more time you spend with them, you're like, I actually don't freaking like this person. It's not someone I want to be with. And that just takes time. So, I mean, it's great that that guy caught feelings for you so quick, in that sense. But at the same time, it's like, guys and girls, give the other person some space to build feelings, to want to be around you, to see if there's a connection, because it is uncomfortable. Like, for me, it was like, I almost always just wanted to be like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you, because it was just like an overwhelming thing. And when I talked to Chris about it, he was like, people just want to fucking just tie you down quick because you're on the market, and they're like, oh, I want to tie her down quick. So maybe this guy just really wants to tie you down, girlfriend. But if it's not something you're looking for, then I would definitely state that as well. So just give them some space, okay? All right. Let's see. If you are mentally out of a bad relationship but can't leave because they support you financially. And then the same person is like, what would you do if your family was toxic and narcissistic? Well, that answers my second question, because I was going to say you should go and move in with your family. But if your family is also toxic, maybe like try living with a friend or finding means with a friend, because I would say, girlfriend, it's not a good thing, like, to have to be with someone who is toxic and you're not mentally, you don't want to be with. Let's just keep it simple. You don't want to be with this person anymore. And you don't, like, the longer you stay, even though it's for financial reasons, the more I feel like you're going to end up losing yourself. And you might have to give up some stuff, and you might have to, quote unquote, suffer somewhere else. But it rather be like, maybe, yeah, your family's toxic, but maybe like fucking move in back with them. Do what you got to do. Go to work multiple jobs to get out and to move out on your own. Because there's always ways around it. Like I just said, find a way to make money when you're working another job. That way you can be bringing in income while you're working at another job. And then potentially you could find your own place, maybe move in with a friend. But I will say, like, staying with someone just because they're supporting you financially, it's not good. It can also create a lot of issues. That person probably feels like they own you too at the same time, and they can get away with more. Like, it's just not, that itself is its own toxic environment. So I would just, knowing myself, I would do whatever I could to bring in more income so that I could live by myself, whether that be in a fucking shithole, but I'm by myself. But thankfully for me, I have supportive family members, or, my parents. I would just move back home with them, use all my time to fucking work, because so that you're not at home if that home area is a toxic place, and, save some money so you can move out on your own. That would be my best advice for that. All right, I'm going to do a few more, guys. What would be your dream collaboration or shoot? I don't know. I don't really think I have one. Um, I don't know. I've always wanted to be in like Vogue magazine, so something like that. Maybe like do a campaign for Dolce and Gabbana or like Dior or something like that. Would probably be like actually like a big name brand collaborations like that would be amazing. But I've actually not really like I haven't really just sat down and like thought about it and manifested that, but I think that would be really cool. I will say I would love to be in like Vogue magazine or one of those top end magazines. I think that would be really cool and like it's on my bucket list, so it would be amazing to be able to check that off. So I definitely think that that's going to happen for me. I don't know when, but it's going to happen for me. I've manifested that part as far as like being in a magazine, especially recently. I don't know. It's been like coming into my mind and I've just like kind of been manifesting it. So it may not be tomorrow. It may not be in the next 5 years, but it will happen. So that's one of, I guess, my dream collaborations. Um, you wanted to go to college, but talk yourself out of a loan. Guys, with college, it's so hard because I just saw another video that stated exactly what I believe in. Do not take out a loan for college, for a career that is not going to make you more than that loan. Like there are people who are paying off these college debts that it's going to take them 30, 40 years to pay off. Like personally, don't fucking do that to yourself. Like I would not do that to myself. Like if it's a five to $20,000 loan would be like my max, and not even per year. I feel like I would say like entirety, because I feel like it's very doable to pay that back. But anything over 20 to get into the hundreds, fuck that. Like I just couldn't personally do that, especially if you are not going to be making at least more than six figures. It's not worth it for me. Like, yeah, I understand like plastic surgeons and things like that, like actual doctors, you're going to hopefully make that income back. But as entrepreneurs and things like that, I am a firm believer in investing in your mind and getting better at your whatever you're good at, but do that with outside courses that sometimes college isn't going to teach you. Like for me, I'm taking a master class right now and doing things like that to help, in the areas that I feel like I need help in, but it costed me like $150, right? And so I will say that if you do want to go to college, though, and that's the route that you want to take, and you think you can build a career out of that, then take the loan. But just make sure you're being wise about taking the loan and find actual like ways around that, maybe scholarships and things like that. But that's honestly my mindset on college, just because I just know so many people that are just in so much debt with school and they're like nowhere close to paying it off, or they're nowhere near that. They got the degree and are not even using it. So make sure that you choose something wisely. And it's not all about money. I will say that if you want to be an art teacher, be an art teacher. Whatever is going to fill your heart with happiness. But I will say this, money does not buy happiness, but it does bring happiness. Because when you have money, there's less things that you can stress about. You can help more people out. You can help your family out. You can live. You don't have to live above your needs, but you can live right there and just be comfortable, and it'll be good. Because it's tough. I will say that, like, not being able to have a steady income and be struggling day to day is very, very tough. Regardless if you love the career, it's tough. So you have to pick if that's the battle that you want to choose, go with and live with, basically. All right, a few more. My man told me he's cheated on all former girlfriends. What am I supposed to think? Girl. This one's hard. I actually just saw someone in a relationship that I know like cheated in his past relationships, and I was like, God bless this new girlfriend, because she's in it for a hard time. It depends. Like, how grown is this man now? Like, is he in a different area in his life? Because I will say, I don't believe in once a cheater, always a cheater, because I think it's all based on experiences. Cheating, I believe, is not black and white. There are different factors into cheating. Did he cheat sexually? Did he cheat just by kissing? what areas was he cheating in, and how long ago did he cheat? And is he in a new area in his life where he's ready to commit and settle down? Because that's very important. If this guy cheats because he goes to the club with his friends and that's where he cheats, and he's still going out to clubs with his friends, girl, that pattern is not going to stop. I don't give a fuck how much this guy cares for you. He's going to care for you for a year, 2 years. Things are going to start getting comfortable. Things are going to get a little, not boring, but like I said, comfortable. He's going to go out with his guy friends. Something's going to happen at home that you guys are like not 100% at, and it's going to happen again. He's going to be uninterested in his household and go out and probably cheat again. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a sex thing, but like, that's why I'm saying, like, check the pattern. If that's the pattern that he had in the past and he still has it now, more likely than not, he's going to cheat again. So I would just say, ask questions if you want to know, like, how he cheated, when he cheated, what he was going through in his time, like why he cheated. And if, like I said, if that's still a current pattern in your life, then I would say run before it happens to you, because cheating is, depending on how it is, it's a pattern that's very hard to break, unless it is, like I said, it was a one-time thing, it happened, it'll never happen again. And there are cases like that. But if you said that this person's cheated on all his previous girlfriends, what makes you think that he's going to change with you? So ask yourself that question. All right. Less than a year of dating, too soon to move in together. I'm 30, he's 38. Hell no. You move in together when you think it's time. Like, no one knows what you're feeling and what that other person's feeling. Only you. Only you know what you're feeling in that relationship. And if you feel in your heart and in your gut that you're ready to take that next step with that person and move in, who cares what anybody else has to say? Do it. It could be, some people find their soulmate in like 5-6 months. I mean, if you believe in soulmates, and that's fine. And they end up being very happy. Do whatever you feel like is right in your heart. But if something is telling you to wait, then maybe wait. Listen to your gut. 99% of the time, it's right. So listen to your gut. If it's telling you, hey, I don't know, I have a weird feeling about this, maybe hold out a few more months. But if you feel like, hey, I'm ready to take this next leap, do it. I feel like a year is definitely not too soon. If you were to say 3 months, I would be like, let's wait a little bit. But a year? Hell no, girl. That's not too soon at all. All right. If you felt like what you're doing in life isn't for you, but you've already made it your life, you can always make something else your life, girlfriend. You are, I was going to say, even if you're 60, who cares if you're 60 and want to start over? You can always start over at any point in your life. Who cares if you've already made it your life? Keep making that your life while you're working on something else that you want to make into your life. You never know what path you're going to take. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life, but I'm not going to say just because I'm doing this the rest of my life, I'm going to keep doing it the rest of my life. Who knows? Maybe in 5 years from now, I say, I don't want to do social media anymore. I want to get into real estate. Or, you know what? I want to get rid of all my social media and I want to make a restaurant. Who cares if that's not the path I took 5-10 years ago? It's a new path I want to take. So I never think I know it's never too late to start something new. And please do not hold yourself back from maybe potentially doing something you love and could be the best decision of your life because you're stuck in like, oh, well, I already chose this. I should be stuck in this. Fuck no. Hell no. Change. Do whatever it is that you need to do to make that your new life, or make whatever it is that you enjoy your new life. All right, I'm going to do a few more because I think I've been talking way too much. All right. How to stop letting your narcissistic mother-in-law get to you. Thankfully I don't have a narcissistic, my mother-in-law is like the best. She's the sweetest. That's a hard one. I would just ignore your mother-in-law. Like I would just, unless she's living with you, which I hope she's not living with you. If she doesn't affect you, if your husband's on your side, that's all that fucking matters. Just make him on your side. Ignore whatever she's got to say. Smile, nod along, whatever you got to do at that time to make things less awkward, and then move on. Chris and I have had plenty of conversations like that where we just got to nod, say, okay. And then we let it go. So just do that. All right. One more. Um, what would you do if you are with your boyfriend for 2 years, but he hasn't introduced you to his parents, but says he is serious and has met all your family? Um, 2 years is a long time. I don't know. That's a little weird that not a little weird, but if it's been 2 years and you still haven't met his family, like, is he really trying to be serious? And I feel like at this point, it's like, hey, I need you to introduce me to your family because so I see that we are heading in this direction. And I'm I know there's people who are like, I don't like giving guys ultimatums. I don't give a fuck. I'll give a guy an ultimatum. Either this, because I feel like sometimes guys are just so dumb. Like they don't get things, or they want to, I don't even know what the word would be, but I feel like they just don't get things. And I'm like, I'm a firm believer in ultimatums. Like I don't care. Like either you want what I want out of my life and you want to go in the same direction, or you don't. Give it to me, because me waiting another fucking year, potentially wasting my time because, oh yeah, you're going to meet my family. You're going to meet my family. You're going to meet my family. What if you fucking don't, girl? What if it's a whole nother year and you don't? Definitely have that conversation. Be like, hey, I'm ready to meet your family. If this relationship is as serious as you say it is, then I think it's time. See what he says. And hopefully he'll make the plans for you to meet his family sometime soon. All right. Actually, I do have one more because I remembered I screenshotted this one because she sent it through DM and it was a good one. So this one's actually a long one, and it'll actually end the podcast on a really good note and on a future podcast. So she says, I've been in a serious relationship with my boyfriend for 2.5 years. We lived together for a bit over 2 of those. Okay, I guess. Fantastic relationship. We have no doubt we'd make great life partners, but there is one issue. Before he met me, he was certain he wanted kids. But I'm more of a logical thinker and explained to him the reasons why raising kids isn't the lifestyle or commitment I'd want. To do it right would be so much work, and I've felt I'd rather give that time to myself and my friends and my hobbies, etc. So now he still wants kid, but is much less certain about it. I suppose I could also change my mind. I'm 24, he's 25, but I'm worried he'll be sad or unfulfilled if I don't change my mind. Neither of us are 100% how strongly we'll feel in one way or another in 5 years. We both feel we are in love with each other's lives though. So we do stick together and hope we end up on the same page. What would Jazzy do? This is perfect because this was me. Like when I was growing up, when I was 18, 19, I was like, yeah, I want kids. I want family. I want 2 kids and I want a house and I want this and this and that. And as my life progressed and my mindset has changed, I've shifted into, I don't want kids. Whereas Chris was off. I think when we were younger, I think we did talk about having a family, but I think once we got married, he was just like, a little bit before we got married, he's like, I don't want kids. And then as he's progressed more and more, he's like, I definitely don't want kids. And I'm actually going to have someone on the podcast very soon. And we are going to go over, why we chose not to have kids or why we're choosing not to have kids and all the stigmas around that, all the, criticism around that, especially in my culture and her culture. And I'm really excited about that podcast. It's coming out very soon. So, but I will say, like, I think people change. I think ideas can change. And I would say, like, if he's, indifferent about it now, he could possibly change. I think for him, though, he needs to decide if he does want 100% sure he wants kids, or if he's like, you know what, if we have kids, great. But if we don't have kids, I'm also happy, because that's where it lies. And I think he's the one that's going to have to make that decision, because you are indifferent. And I will say, like, me being the one that sometimes wants to have kids is hard, because I know Chris doesn't want to have kids. And I'm like, I don't ever want to have a kid with someone who doesn't want the kid. And Chris says, no. Like, if we get pregnant, I obviously, like, would want the kid. Like, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, he's like, I don't want kids. So for me, I'm also, like, in my life so happy with how my life is. And when I think about my future now, I don't really see myself as a mom. I don't see my life with kids. And so I feel like I'm, I guess, I'm the one more compromising as the fact saying like, actually, you know, I'm fine without having kids. I'm okay with not having kids in my life, as long as he's okay with me spoiling my nephews and nieces and my friends' babies. Like, I've told him that, like, and especially recently, like, I don't have kids, but I love kids. I think it's like, you know, for a short amount of time. I love my niece. I love, you know, my best friend Aurelie, her baby Mia. I love her. I obsess with her. Like, I love kids, but I also love the fact that I don't have kids. But I'm willing to, you know, compromise that, because I'm also not at 100% that I want kids, if he's okay with me spoiling other people's kids. So that's where we kind of compromise. But I will say he just has to make sure that he's at least knows that he doesn't want kids 100%. Because if he knows in his heart that he for sure wants kids, it'll eventually lead to problems down the road, and it'll eventually lead to where you're going to have to be like the one to be like, I guess I'll have a kid for you. And then that can bring up issues in the future. But we'll go more deep into this topic once I have my guest, because I really want to talk about everything and why I'm choosing not to have kids and everything that goes around that. So there's just a lot to cover, but I definitely think that if you can both communicate with each other transparently and honestly, I don't see why you guys can't work things out. And hopefully you guys do come to a medium. But yeah, kids are not an easy topic to talk about. But anyways, that's it for What Would Jazzy Do? Like I said, let me know if you guys like these episodes. They're a little bit of just like everywhere, because it's just like, and I didn't even get like through half of them, of just like what different scenarios of what I would do. I think overall today's segment was very much about, if you're not happy with the life that you have, go fucking create it for yourself. Or do whatever you got to do to make that happen for yourself. Especially girls, you are so much stronger than you give yourself credit sometimes. Especially, and I hate to say this, but especially in like different cultures and my Latina culture, like, please don't stick to the stigma that men are the ones that are supposed to take care for you, and that you're supposed to just not have something for yourself, and you're not going to be as successful as men, because that is not true. We as women are so fucking powerful. And I think especially as a culture, we are so strong. And if you can bring that strength out, I promise you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. So I hope that, this segment at least resonated with you. And like I said, don't forget about our merch. And that's about it, guys. Drink your water, live a healthy lifestyle. And if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, please share it on your story. That way we can all grow together. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.